guys. Let me get some hearts. Let me get some fire in the chat. That was a video sharing our most recent mogul lifestyle weekend experience, guys. Mr. and Mrs. Bean leave nothing. They leave no stone unturned. They roll out the red carpet when it comes to the events that they have for us and that we get to experience to really help us to elevate our mindset and to dream bigger and to believe bigger, guys. So excited for that last event. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are not set up, if you do not already have your room, your suite on Cruising with the Beans coming up July 2024, what are you waiting for? Secure your spot. Definitely lock in your spot on the ship so you don't miss another one of our experiences, right? So again, Mr. and Mrs. Bean, they absolutely do everything top notch, first class when it comes to this team, when it comes to the Foresight Business Academy and all of the people that they're working with. So definitely make sure you secure your spots, get with the person that invited you to the call to find out more, or go to foresight-mg.com. I believe that's the site. If somebody can put it in the chat, please go ahead and do so. Let's see who we have in the chat. Got a couple more moments, so definitely want to see who we have in the chat. We have Tim Lambert on the line. I see Angel Trin on the line from Houston, Texas. We have, let's see here, Carmen Lopez on the line, Leslie Johnson on the line, and I see our fearless leader has put a message in the chat on Facebook. He says, let's get these credit scores between 700 and 850. Who's ready? Yes, absolutely. Cannot wait to get all of the nuggets about how to improve our credit scores and really improve our credit as a whole. There's a lot of opportunities out there if you got your credit right, if you got your numbers and your money right? But sometimes you just got to make some adjustments to get that to that next tier. And I'm so excited that he's going to teach us and show us everything that he knows on how to get those credit scores to 750, 800, and beyond. Okay, so again, go ahead and make sure you got your pens and notepads ready. Make sure you got your coffee, your tea, your water. Make sure you are in a quiet place with nothing keeping you from the information that is going to be shared. And if you are joining on Zoom, please go ahead and make sure that you have your lines muted out. If you're in position to be on camera, we would love to see your faces, but please make sure to keep your lines muted at all times. If you're not in position to be on camera, totally understand that, then definitely just go ahead and mute your camera out as well, all right? Well, the time has come for me to step out of the way of greatness. The gentleman I have the honor and privilege of introducing to you. He's a person that has created millions of dollars investing, but more importantly, he created a business model that is filled with opportunities that have made millions of dollars for others. Everything from short-term to long-term investments, commodities, and master classes for wealth creation. The most recent project that he worked on, he built a book of business that in excess of $8 million in just 5 months. Now, I'm not going to tell you all his business and talk about how much money he was able to earn from that. But you can imagine if he grew a book of business in excess of $8 million, right? You can just imagine the piece of the pie that he was able to capitalize on for himself as well. Okay, he did pretty well for himself in that same time frame. But he has a goal to help 10,000 families generate $5,000 per month in residual recurring income. All right, so what I love most about this gentleman is he's the definition of integrity and character, and he's one of the only people that's ever been and done every single thing he ever committed to me that he would be or do. So please give me some 4-5s, give me some hearts, give me some fire in the chat. Help me welcome to the line the GOAT, the greatest of all time, also known as the People's Champ, Mr. Samuel Bean.
What's going on, Carly? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing?
We're coping over here with the football games this weekend, but you know we're on the line now, so it's super fantastic, of course.
I'm gonna tell you something about that football game. You saw the future, basically. It's like what I see when I look at this call and I look at all the millionaires that are here and future millionaires that are here. You know what a winner looks like, right? And so you don't actually get upset when they have a setback. A setback is only a setup for a come up. And so I see a Super Bowl in our future, fourth generation, baby. So I see some Super Bowls on here too. We're gonna talk about that in just a little bit. And so it's a good thing. And sometimes you don't always get what you want when you want it. Okay. sometimes you got to pump the brakes. Sometimes you got to be a little patient, and sometimes you just got to hit the reset button. You know what I mean? And so, again, that's when you look at the series of what we're going to be doing, going forward. Last week we talked about what to do with a dollar. This week we're talking about, today we're talking about credit. Okay, and so at least once a month, I want to do something about money, surrounding money, and something that you guys can really get some really good juice, some nuggets off of while you're getting the leadership and how to's. And so, for those of you who are brand new, for those of you who are here for the very first time, I want to say welcome. Definitely looking forward to sharing some really good, strong information with you guys this evening. And hopefully you guys take something away from this that you can turn around and use and teach to your kids for years and years and years going forward. Something that you can go out here and use to set a foundation for security and financial freedom. So again, my name is Samuel Bean. I'm out of Houston, Texas, and this is the Foresight Business Academy, guys. This is where we know that you're rich before you do. This is where we participate in Project Pride. We've been doing this forever, and that's producing residual income in a down economy. And so, again, that's who we are. That's who we're always going to be. Okay. And Carly told you about, our big mission. She told you about, our Project 10,000, our goal to take 10,000 families and help them get to $5,000 a month and residual recurring income. And again, that's a really good, significant goal because that goal puts you in a position where you're focusing on everybody else hitting theirs. Okay? And if you put everybody else first, guys, I have an understanding that you'll never be last. Again, the universe will always come back and reward you for the duties and the deeds that you've done for his flock. So with that being said, happy to be here again. I got a couple of announcements to make and a couple of things we're going to go through real quick. You also always going to start off with the cruise. Again, it's coming up on us. July is right around the corner. And Cruising with the Beans on July 25th weekend. Like Carly said, get your tickets, get your cabins, and go ahead and make plans on being there because we plan on seeing you. Also, when it comes to, again, where we're at in certain platforms, and I've been having people reach out to me saying, "What's next? What's next? What's next?" Right now, until something is solid, nothing's next. Okay, again, we're just not going to jump in something just to do something. And we have our hands full with a lot of things, and we got a lot of things on hold, and that's the reality of it all, right? And so, when it comes to SCF, again, I'm not doing anything with that until March, until I see exactly what they're doing with March. The only thing I'm doing now is taking the money that is being generated from the gifting or whatever, the donating thing that we're doing right now, and just creating, putting it right back in there with the FUSD that I have. So I'm not putting any more of my new money in there. I'm just taking the money that I'm getting and generating, and I'm just flipping it and creating more and donating more. So, when this thing kicks off in March, if it kicks off in March, I'll be in position to have something to show for it on top of all of our nodes. But the one thing about SCF that I do want you guys to know is this. A lot of you are putting your people in groups. And when you do that, you're putting your people in harm's way. And what you're finding out right now is that a lot of you guys are being pitched with a lot of things I've already turned down, and for good reason. A lot of you guys are in groups with 𝐭𝐲𝐬 and his team. And right now, if you're in those groups, what you're seeing is that they're doing about 7 or 8 different things. Okay. And I can just tell you, our audience is not built like that. Okay. We're more long-term, we're more strategic, we're more, again, just it's more methodical. The things that they're actually investing in right now, it has the feel of a gifting program, like the ton that they just showed up with, the one they just pitched, and again, I turned down. The ton, it's kind of like a gifting program to where it's basically going to go until the money runs out. It's going to go, and everybody knows it's got a expiration date on it, and those type of things I just don't touch intentionally. And the things that we've invested in, things have happened, but because of those are long term, those are things that we had that we were projecting to go long term. Okay, so when you're putting your people in these groups because you're so thirsty for information, right? What you're finding is that your people are now being sniped. Your people are now being recruited. Your people are now being wooed into other opportunities And what you're finding is that you're being left alone. You're being in a position where now you can't protect them because now you've introduced them to their next leader. Okay. And so that's why we don't do a whole lot of cross-lining. That's why you never saw us do a full-fledged merger into, these other groups. You've seen us go get the information and come back with the information, and that's a form of protection. Okay. And so when you don't know what you don't know, guys, and you turn around and you say, well, look, I'm gonna get in front of it. I think this thing is going to be big. They're pitching this thing and they're hyping this thing up, and that's what they do best. Yeah, and that's fine. If that's for them, that's for them. But again, you should ask yourself, why didn't I pitch it to you guys? Why didn't I bring it to you guys? If you're watching it and you're about to join into it, or you already joined into it, you got to ask yourself, why didn't I join? Because they told me first. Okay? And so that's important. And so I just want to kind of put you guys in that frame of mind. Your people right now are in a position where, they need to be protected. They don't need to be sold. They don't need to be poached. They don't need to be talked to about other opportunities. They need something solid. They need to rebound. They need to recuperate. They need to regenerate their energies and their enthusiasms and everything else. And they can't do that hopping into 4 or 5 different new things that, are going to crash and burn. And they're not built to withstand those type of platforms. And so, again, I just want to kind of give you guys a warning on that. And like I said, you saw us put, in the leadership group and also in the Telegram group, the call that they had today. I personally apologize for that because, again, the way they have their advertisements set up, huge information, emergency information, and they make it all urgent to where I actually thought they had an SCF update, right? And I didn't want you guys to miss it. And all you guys got on there and heard was the same thing I heard, was somebody hyping up SCF and saying that you need to be here, you need to believe in this company, you need to do this, that, and other. And again, that's a sign of amateurism. That's a sign of desperation. That's a sign of a person who wants you to now go out there and put more money in. And I can guarantee you guys, just for SCF alone, half of my team has already been compressed up above me because a lot of y'all already got in and did your thing before we even said we were going to go, and that's fine. But again, when you make those decisions, guys, without counsel, without leadership, there are consequences. Okay, you don't pay them to me; you pay them to your people, okay? And so that's a responsibility. Just keep that in mind. But don't listen to the hype train. Okay, make sure you're paying attention to all the signs. Make sure you've been in long enough to know what's happening. Where the big announcement comes. It comes on your back office website at the top. And anything that hits that bulletin, that's from the company. Anything that doesn't, that's from the field and people who want you guys to go out there and put more money in. Okay, so let's get that out the way first. Eternal. Again, that was one of those real quick plays as well, where you got people who are putting money in and they got money cycling and things like that. So that's one of those things. But that platform is from a company that already had their ecosystem built, and this is a pure money play when it comes to you getting in, putting money in, and not having to worry about your stuff ending up in nodes and stuff like that. Okay, so there's actual income to be generated here and earned here. As it comes to Lance Green, obviously, like I said last week, guys, we're not going to pull the trigger and move forward with that until we get some feedback. Now, I've been in communication with Jeremy. He has been communicating with me on a daily basis, almost every day for the past 3 to 4 days. I mean, he may have missed a day, but he's been, again, talking to me about what Anderson is doing, what they got going on, and what they're trying to put together to make it feasible for everybody to start getting paid out and make sure they can get this thing going and growing again. But for me, what I want to do is I want them to get it back up so we can get out, so we can take our money out. Okay, and so whatever's left in there, at that point in time, that's fine. But I want to make sure we can recoup anything and everything that we can, while we can. Like I said, so I don't trust anything until I know I can, and the only way I know I can is when we got money out of it. Okay, so that's important. So last week, again, we talked about a lot of people have been hitting me up during the week, saying that they really appreciate the conversation on Plan Bs last week. And I'm excited about you guys, again, just really, taking that into consideration, understanding that there's obviously a bigger picture, that tomorrow is coming. And sometimes you just have to sit down and, again, stop, pause, reflect, and come up with a different strategy, or come up with an updated strategy. And so that's what we're doing. But again, I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad you guys plugging in. I'm glad you guys are getting the value that you can get out of these calls. And so as anything, as we get more and more updates, we will let you know. I do know that there was a Novatech update, and I know Angel is doing some backtracking on that for us. She's going to bring us an update sometime in the near future. But we do know that they were supposed to go to court again in Novatech, and they missed their second court date. So now the third court date is going to move forward with or without them, so they can go ahead and come to judgment on some things. So again, I'm excited about that see somebody being pursued based on them and their lack of integrity and how they move when it comes to the space and how many people they have in a position of loss. So looking forward to hearing some updates and feedback on that, and seeing these people actually come after some of these people who are taking advantage of people. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight is something that we can control. Okay, and that's putting yourself in a position where you understand and credit. Okay. Okay. Let's see how to get that credit score from 550 to 800, 850, right? And so that's the kind of what we're going to touch on tonight. We'll kind of give you guys some of the bullet points, and these are, again, straight out of the book of being. This is some of the things that we've used, my wife and I, over the years, to make sure we have really good credit. Again, the credit that we need in times of need. And so right now, with different business transactions and things that we want to do, we're in that mindset to where I'm trying to get my credit. I'm getting my credit back up over 800, trying to catch my wife, because that's some things that I want to do, some things I want to invest in. But when you look at credit, guys, you ask yourself, what type of credit do you have? And you got to ask yourself, what's your credit score? Do you know your credit score? When the last time you checked it? Okay, and so on. Because some people have zero idea where they're at right now, credit-wise. And that's something that should be monitored on a regular basis. But you are here, wherever that credit score is, and then you want to know what your goal is. Are you super prime, excellent prime, fair, good, subprime? What are you? What's your score? Okay, and then give yourself a goal on where you want to be. Okay, and then also, before we get started, because credit cards have a lot to do with this, what is your definition? And just type it in the chat. Type it in Facebook. Type it in Zoom. What's your definition of a credit card? What is a credit card? I want to see where we're at. I want to see what kind of feedback we get. What's a credit card? And I'll give you guys a second on that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, borrow money, Tim Lambert. Okay. A tool for leverage, short-term loan. Okay. Yeah. And so it really is a tool, but more importantly, it's a loan. Okay. It's basically a micro loan. It's no different than a car loan, a mortgage. It comes from a bank. And the reason why I ask you that credit to make you sit down and think about it is because most people abuse credit cards because they really don't know what they are and really don't understand what they're supposed to be used for. Okay. Most people use credit cards as an extension of their bank accounts, as an extension of their own money, their personal funds. And again, that's no different than a bank loan for a car, a house, something like that. You pay that every month like you're supposed to, but you don't do it for your credit cards. But that's how they make more money off of you on credit cards than they do on the car loans and mortgages. Okay, and so it's crazy how you can buy a house on a mortgage, 30 years, you pay for it 3 times. But you get a credit card, you don't pay for it properly, and you're paying the minimal, and you're coming in late from time to time, and all of a sudden you're up at 29% interest rate. Now you're paying more money on the credit card than you would on a house, percentage-wise and return-wise, because of how you treat it, because of how you view it, right? And the relationship that you have with it. So now that you know that it's not, something that's coming out of your bank account, it's an actual loan, a micro loan. Let's make sure we treat that differently. Okay. Right now, just having to understand like your FICO score. Most people don't know what a FICO score is. Basically, it's just a credit score that ranges anywhere from 300 to 850. Okay. And so again, there are 5 components, of an actual FICO score that makes up the whole entire score, and how they do the math and how they come up with your score. First is the payment history, which accounts for 35%. And I'm gonna get into all of these in depth, but basically how well you pay off your debt, timely, late, early, minimum, maximums, etc. Okay. That's 35%. That's the one that accounts for the largest percentage, payment history. Okay. The amount of debt that you actually have, right? That's 30%. Okay. How much credit are you responsible for paying back? Right. That's 30%. Between those two is 65%. Okay. Next one is the length of credit history, the age of your credit. The length of credit history, the age of your credit, that's 15%. Basically, the amount of time that you spent building your credit. Are you new, no credit, been having credit for 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Age of your credit. I'm going to tell you, the longer you've had it, the better off you are. Okay. Next one is new credit, which accounts for 10%. And that's the amount, that's how many new lines of credit you have actually built. And at what point in time did you build them? Like, did you just open them this month, this year? It's what's considered new to them. You want to make sure that, again, opening up new accounts for me is like this month, couple of months, 2 or 3 months from now, like right away, that's brand new credit in my eyes. But again, I'm gonna talk to you how that can work with you and how that can work against you. And then you got the last one, which is credit mix. And this also accounts for 10%. And so this deals with the variety of credit that you owe, right? The variety, okay? And the banks, they like variety. And when I say variety, I'm talking about, instead of just having 2 credit cards, I'm talking about having credit card, line of credit, retail card, automobile loan, mortgage payment, those type of things. It's all different. Student loans, they all different. It's a variety. Okay? And so I'll talk a little bit about that and how they look upon that. But now let's talk about, how to start moving the credit score needle. Let's talk about, how you go out here and get your credit score healthy. If it's good, let's make it great. If it's not good, if it's bad, let's make it better, or let's make it outstanding. Either way it goes, people are they're judged by the credit, right? When you think about, and this is just off the path for a second, but just kind of think about how much credit is starting to play into, your everyday life now. Like insurance, you want to get insurance, they check your credit, right? You want to get in certain schools now, they're checking your credit. You want to obviously buy something, you're checking your credit, but you think about how a person looks at you if they're trying to date you, right? Got bad credit, basically they see you're unreliable, unfit, men and women, right? I see Laura over there smiling. That go for y'all too. But it's like the credit is like you're judged based on your credit, guys. And there's a lot of things out there, that require credit rating now, require credit score now. And so think about how the world is evolving and judging you now based on your FICO score. And if that's something that that you're being judged by, make sure you get it up and keep it up. Okay. And these are in no specific order. But for me, I would kind of do them in this order for a minute. First thing I would do is I would run a credit report from, annualcreditreport.com. It's free, soft credit pool, basically. And they basically, show you kind of what's going on with your credit. So, and that's Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, all of them. And when you pull it, what you want to do is you want to audit your account, and you want to go out there and dispute everything that you see wrong immediately. When you look at the Consumer Financial Protection bureaus, they found at least one error on 26% of all disputes turned in. That's a lot. And a lot of these banks are reporting wrong on purpose. Okay? And so again, I'm not saying go out there and dispute everything. What I'm saying is go out there and audit your account, find out what's wrong with it, what the errors are, and dispute them right away. As a matter of fact, the most found mistakes out of those 20% of mistakes that are found, missing accounts, accounts being reported more than once, right, which is a bad thing, and accounts being closed. It said that they're being closed by the creditor or the grantor as opposed to being closed by you. If you close it out, that makes a difference, right? Okay. If you have something that says it was a settlement that was paid in full, that makes a difference. Okay. Anything and everything, guys, that you can dispute it. But you want to make sure that you also pay attention to what bureaus the dispute is coming from. You want to make sure you're sending a dispute on TransUnion to TransUnion, not Equifax. Okay, send it to the respective credit bureau. And there's something out there, when you see all these links and you see all these sites, they all have dispute letters. It's the exact same letter. Okay? And when the banks when they see that and you dispute something, they automatically see that it's basically an automatic denial. They know you basically clear it out, put your name on it, put your account information on it, and send it in. So you can get creative and make yours stand out and make it look like this person actually took some time, found an actual error, and they'll consider it, and then they'll take a good look at it. And ChatGPT, that they have, you can actually go on ChatGPT and type in, help me dispute this inquiry on my credit bureau that is not true. And what you'll see, it'll start typing up this letter, to make sure that you actually can now dispute it. And it's going to be totally different than, what you see and these links that you're clicking on and sending that's not really effective based on them auto denying it. Okay. But chat GPT, again, allow that if you have access to it, let that use it. But you don't want to get automatically declined just by using a regular prototype cookie cutter situation. And if you have things that are on your credit also that deserve to be on there, but it's been on there for 1.5 years, 2 years, one of the things that is effective, and some people don't do it because they believe that it's going to be a waste of time, writing the credit bureau a letter, emailing them a letter saying, hey, I was going through some things, 18 months ago, and I was late twice. I get it. But as you can see, I've been paying not just on time, but before time, and I've been paying better than agreed upon because I want to maintain a good relationship with it. If you can remove this, I would really appreciate this, and it'll help me out a lot. That type of a note, not a lot, right? But still something that is effective. And so you'd be amazed at how many people get stuff removed just by sending an email in, getting them to actually consider removing it. Okay. But plead your case. Number 2. Now, you can be added to somebody's credit as an authorized user. This is called piggybacking. Okay? Now, this is not going to be available to everybody. Everybody doesn't have somebody that's got great credit that they can work with, and everybody doesn't have somebody that has great credit that'll even do it for them. Okay? But if you have family members that'll do it for you, have them do it for you, because you'd be amazed at how a person who may have an 800, 850 score, and depending on what your score is, you may see your score jump anywhere from 30 points to 100 plus points based on that person's score. Okay, now you got to make sure that person have the same credit score that you have or lower, because again, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. You're going to either have the same credit and no impact, or you have worse credit and you hurt yourself. You made their credit better, probably. So again, that's just one of those things that you got to watch out for. Also, for those of you who have kids and grandkids, this is an opportunity for you to give them a head start if you have amazing credit, because you can add them on your credit cards as authorized users as well. The thing about it is, if you add anybody to your credit as an authorized user, make sure that they can't get a card and never have a card. Okay? You maintain any cards, and all cards have everything come to your address, but just make them authorized user. And if you're asking somebody to do it for you, explain that to them so they'll understand that you have zero intent on using the credit to purchase. You have every intent on using the credit to get a car, a house, or a loan or whatever. And it won't affect them because you're just an authorized user. It'll affect you and it give you the boost that you need to help you get qualified, to help you get a very, very low rate. Okay. So other thing about authorized users, guys, there's a way that you can actually make money, with giving people access to be authorized users on your actual credit cards. Okay. And so I know people who will say, hey, look, I'll let you be, an authorized user on my card, Ivan, if you give me $500 or if you give me $750. Okay. And so they do that all the time. Okay. And so people who need credit right away for whatever they need it for, that jump we talked about, 30 points, 50 points, 100 points, depending on who you're talking, depending on what your credit is, you can give a person an opportunity to piggyback on one of your cards. Guess what else you can do? You can give them an opportunity to piggyback on multiple cards. If you have multiple cards, and you can charge them for every card. Okay. Again, you're talking about learning how to use, your resources to make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing legal about that. There's nothing, again, that you should feel bad about. It's business. And you're giving them access to something that they need. You're supplying a need. Remember, this is about supply and demand. So if you have 4 credit cards and you got great credit, and those 4, you put that person on 4 lines of credit, so you know what? Instead of charging you $500 per card, I'll give you 3 for 15. Or you know what? I normally charge $750. I'll give you, all 4 for $2,000. And it's not a permanent thing either, right? And so you put them on there for an agreed upon period of time, 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, and then you get them off 90 days. Because remember, they only need it for a long enough time to actually get approved of something. Think about what it does, okay? Leroy, if Leroy is trying to buy a house for $500,000 and Leroy gets a chance to come piggyback on 4 of my credit cards and my credit score is 825. Let's say Leroy's credit score is 650 in this scenario. Well, he piggybacks on me. Let's just say his credit score goes up from 650 to 725. Okay. Or almost 800, based on the fact that there's 4 different cards with, great balances on them and great, it basically is great leverage. So now let's say his mortgage rate goes from 6.5% down to 3.5%. Y'all know how much money that is? Not just on a $500,000 house. Let's say it's on a $200,000 house. That's a fortune. That's a small fortune. A point or 2 based on credit, guys, can save you a ton of money. Have your mortgage payment down so low it'd be ridiculous. So you're not, charging a person money just to make money off of them. That person is about to get a blessing. Same thing for automobile. I'd rather give somebody money to piggyback on their credit who has great credit than to give an automobile dealer an extra $5,000 or $10,000 for a down payment because I have bad credit or, borderline credit. Okay. And so that's what you want to consider, when you're looking at this stuff. And keep in mind, all you have to do, guys, is this. You can contact the creditors. You can contact the credit card. Hey, call and contact Chase, contact American Express, contact whoever it is and say, hey, how many authorized users am I allowed to have? Okay. And you do that for each card. Some may say 4, some might say 6, some might say 2, but you take tally on how many authorized users you're able to have on each card. And then those are slots that you have for sale for a specific period of time. Just trying to tell you, this is, when you look at the people who are extremely wise, the people who are really making money out here, the people who are going out here mastering the system and taking full advantage of everything that they have access to, guys, this is the type of information that I paid for years ago that I'm sharing with y'all for free. Okay. So if you didn't know, let me say that if you didn't know that you can actually sell trade lines and you can make money off the trade lines, Just type me in the chat for me. Yeah, it's going to be some people who are going to miss it tonight. Because they think it's just a regular old millionaire mindset call, and that's fine. But tonight we're going to get rich. All right. So, but that's the thing, guys, with that piggyback, and I'm just telling you, with your kids like my sons, they got a head start. Okay. Both of them are on my wife's credit. Hers is better than mine. So we don't want them to start in a negative. No, I'm just kidding. No, but she's got the best. So we want them to be started with the best. And so now them being authorized users on her card gives them age, gives it, you know what I'm saying, gives them that. Remember, we talk about how long, we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth, but by the time they really need it, when they get 18 years old, they will have had 6 to 8 years of credit history. Okay. And so they're not starting out at 500, 600, you know, again, we want them to start out at 750, 800, 850. So just telling you, there's a lot of things that you can actually do with this. So number 3, if you don't have credit, start establishing credit. This is where new credit is good. This is where new credit is great. And keep in mind, when it comes to new credit, guys, even if you have to get new credit, if you got established credit and you have to get new credit right away, it's going to ding you, but it'll ding you for a month or two. It won't ding you long. As long as you pay it off, you know, again, as agreed or earlier, you'll start to see your credit score come back around. Okay. And so, but that's establishing credit. If you don't have any, establish it. You can get secured credit cards. You can apply for credit cards. First of all, apply and see if you'll get it. Okay. If you don't have any credit, apply and see if you'll get it. One, if you can't get it, go ahead and get you some secured credit cards. And I would say if you get a secured credit card, get them from different banks. Never get everything from the same bank. You want different banking relationships. And so I have one at Bank of Texas. I have one in Wells Fargo. I had ones in different Chase Bank. I had different secure lines of credit and different secure credit cards in different banks. So what happens is when you actually, finish, with your secured credit cards and you pay them off for a while, you've had them for 6 months, you've had them 12 months, whatever. What happens is now you can go back and get actual credit cards from those same companies without it being secured. Okay. And so because now you got 1, 2, or 3 trade lines that are secured by your money. And I'll tell you, the more money you can put in them, the better off you are. Okay? The smaller ones don't have a big impact. They don't register as much. You might have some sort of, and if you have to start off small, make sure it's one that you can increase the amount, like making deposits in it and put more money in it so you can increase the amount, the credit limit, so it'll show up bigger at some point on your credit bureau, because you want it to make an impact. You don't want it to do it just to do it. Okay. But another thing you can do is you can buy, y'all hear me talk about this all the time, buy CDs, but only buy CDs from banks that will allow you to take out a loan against them, another secure loan. This one is a whole lot more credible. This is a whole lot more effective. You get a whole lot more leverage from the bankers, because now you have one of their products in the form of a CD. You borrowed from it, so they have access to that CD, right? And if you default, they just get the money back from the CD. But that's another one that you want to get multiple CDs. If you can afford one at a time, get one and get another one and get another one, but get 1, 2, and 3, maybe even 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4 banks. Okay, you want those different relationships, and the reason why you want those different relationships, again, once those CDs or once those secure loans for the CDs finish, then you can go back and get what? A line of credit or a loan from that same bank without it being what? Secured. Okay. Now you have secure credit cards, you're paying off, you have secure loans, you're paying off. Now you get 6 months, 12 months later, you're going back getting actual loans and things, but you're not getting them until you need them. Okay, but you have the ability to go get them. You find something that you want to get the loan for, you need the loan for, then you go back and use it. at that point in time. But you just continue to build a credit, continue to build a relationship. And then at some point in time, you get a chance to go back and pit each bank against each other. So you know what, Laura, I appreciate what you're doing for me over here at Chase, but the rate's not as good as it is over at Wells Fargo. So I'm gonna go over here with Susie, and Laura knows I got a Wells Fargo account because she's looking at my credit. Right? You know what? I'm gonna go over to Bank of Texas, or I'm gonna go over here to Chase. I'm gonna go over here to, you know, spot whatever it is, SoFi. I'm gonna go over to SoFi, you know, because they gave me a better rate and they're gonna give me more money. You're only gonna give me 10,000, they're gonna give me 25,000. Or you're only gonna give me 50, they're gonna give me 100. And so they want your business. Remember, they need those accounts open. They get paid on what? Opening accounts. They get paid on new loans. They get paid on, and they don't want to see that money walk out. The moment you can tell them that somebody's going to get this business, it's either going to be you or it's going to be them. And what happens is they start to, I will say what my dad would say, they start to nut up and you know what, let me just go ahead and change my mind. And they start to give you everything, right? They start to give you everything, Lord. And I told y'all last week, I had my banker came to the party I was at, which is 45 minutes away, just to bring me some documents to sign. And it was for that loan, the secure loan. This man brought me documents for a secure loan, not a real loan, not a, you know, like a secure loan on that Friday. But guess what? I texted him today again, and I started asking him questions about, and this is how I set him up, Laura. I said, hey, a matter of fact, I'm going to read it to you. Hold on, wait a second. Because this is all about conversation, guys. It's always about how you position yourself. And so when I go here, let me go over here to Frank. Okay. All right. And so he hit me back again. So say, hey there, Frank. It's Sam being here. Happy New Year's. I'm looking at some self-storage projects to invest in, and I'm wondering from your experience, would it be better to go through your bank or do an SBA loan? Can you, they can range anywhere from $500,000 to 1.5 million. I need to know what I'd be looking at with the bank so I can prepare myself for a potential loan with you guys or for somebody else. Let me know what the credit score needs to be, the down payment percentage, and any other credentials required. Thanks in advance. So that was the day this morning. Hey, Mr. Bean, sorry for the delay. Your bank and my bank can help you do either. Let me connect, you know, with one of our commercial lenders, and they can talk with you about the best options and tell you what we can do with you and what scores and down payments you'll need for us. I said, thanks a million. And then I said, hey, look, just to kind of let him know, I may come back in the branch this week and buy another CD under the business account and take out another loan against it. Will they have to pull my credit again and make me resubmit all the paperwork I did for the last secure loan? He said, pull credit, yes, but I think we'll be good on the paperwork. What do you think about coming in? And this is when I come back at him. I was thinking about 10,000, but I didn't want to pull the credit again because every inquiry drops it and stays on it for 2 years. I have a 6 to 12-month plan for my self-storage plan, and I may have to go in a different route if that's the case. If there's any way you can do it without the credit as a secured loan, that would be perfect. He said, okay, let's talk tomorrow. You're not going to be pulling my credit. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's going to pull my credit, it's going to be a different bank. But I'm giving him, I'm positioning myself. You can hear the dialogue, you can hear the conversation, and I'm posturing up, I'm coming with value, and I'm putting, you know, what can be, right, on the table for him. And I need him to have enough value for me to give me exactly what I want, okay, until he can't, right, until it's above his head. And then I'm gonna need him to go to fight for me. But again, that's it. Those CDs are so important. You know, it's not about the return. You get a CD 2, 3, 4 years, guys, they're only going to pay you 5% on it. And the loan that you're going to get maybe 7%. Okay? So you'll be upside down in it, but you're paying 2% for great credit in a relationship. Okay. So just put the money in the bank, don't spend it, and let them do automatic withdrawals on it. That money, I haven't touched it. Like my grandma would say, I haven't touched that money since I put that money in there. Right. And so it's just been sitting there. They've been drafting it out of there every month. And so again, it's just been hitting my credit really, really well. So again, this is something I wanted to share with y'all about that. Let's see here. Establishing new credit. Okay, so stay on top. Number 4, stay on top of your payment history. Stay on top of your payment history. If you can, pay off your entire balance every month in full. Okay, if you can, pay it off in full. And there are things that, guys, if you're going to buy something cash, buy it on your credit card and then turn around and pay it off. I'm gonna tell you, it helps you more than you know. Okay. And so there's some transactions that I was gonna make. I was gonna make about $7,000 worth of transactions in cash. And I thought about it, now that would be a bad mistake. I'm missing the opportunity to put $2,000 on this credit card, $3,000 on this credit card, another $2,000 on this, $2,500 on this credit card. There's 3 different transactions. I was going to pay them all in cash, but now I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? No, I'll just pay them on my 3 credit cards and then pay them all off. Because when you look at American Express gave everybody the blueprint to 850. Okay, if you're paying everything off every month, before the report date, mind you, make sure y'all do it before the report date, right? Don't worry, but the due date is one date. The report date is a whole entirely different date. If you do it before the report date, then because you can come back and pay it off after the report date, but you get reported as a debt is owed to American Express or whatever bank card you got. But if you pay it off before, right, then what happens is it shows that you paid it off and you have a 0 balance. And that's what you want. Okay. So paying it off after the date, but on time, it dings you. Paying it off before the date, okay, which is early, it benefits you. Okay. So if you can do that, do that. Okay. If you can do that, do that. But use your credit cards for everything that you're going to spend money on anyway, then pay it off in full, because that's the way you want that's the way you really want them to see you paying off. Set up automatic payments on everything. You shouldn't have any debt that has to be paid on a monthly basis, guys, that is not on automatic payment. Okay, you don't want that one time you turn around and, man, I meant to pay it. They don't care anything about that. As a matter of fact, that's what they want you to do, because now they can jack it up. They can jack up your interest rate from that nice little 4 or 5%, or nice 10 to 15% to nice 25 to 30%. There's nothing you can do at that point. You don't want anything late if you can help it. So put it on automatic payment for the minimum, and then go and pay it off, if you can pay it off beforehand, manually. Okay. But set up automatic payments. Know what your deadlines are and your report dates, guys. Very, very important. Make multiple payments per month. It keeps your balances manageable. Let's see here. Number 5, credit age. Credit age. Okay. You heard me talk about it earlier. Let's see here. Length of credit history. Well, number 5 is credit age, length of credit history. And this is one thing I want to warn you of. Do not, guys, write this down. Do not cancel any credit cards that are paid off, that are old and are in good status. I don't care how it can be a Macy's card. Okay. Don't cancel them. Put them in a drawer somewhere, tie them up in a rubber band, put them in a safe somewhere, and pull them out once a year to make a small purchase on them, just to make sure that they don't get deactivated, and make sure they don't get canceled by the company itself for non-usage. Make sure that they don't drop your limit. Charge on them one time, and then put them back in the safe. But this is why it's important. So when you look at the credit history, guys, I had a 4-year American Express that I had for 4 years. I paid off. I had a Macy's card for 11 years. I paid off. Dealer's card for 7 years. I paid off, and a Discover card I had for 4 years, and I paid off. And I was bad with credit. I was bad with money. Spending habits was horrible with credit cards. I couldn't trust myself with them, so I got rid of them. But when I did that, I got rid of my credit score too. My credit score dropped 150 points immediately. And let me share with you why. Banks, if you, Laura, let me ask you a question. You're a grown woman. Okay? If you date, okay, and you meet a man, you say, you know what, how long you been out of a relationship? Well, I've been out of a relationship for a year. You know, I've been looking for the right thing. Well, how long was your last relationship? He say 18 years. You're like, oh, okay, that's stability. That's somebody who knows how to stay married. You know what I mean? That's somebody who, you know what I'm saying? That's what the banks want. And they dropped my credit score 150 points because everything I had left was less than a year. It was small. It was new. It was untrustworthy. They at that point in time, they couldn't see how reliable I was in the past. They couldn't see how well I made my payments and everything else in the past. They couldn't see any of that. But because I didn't know any better, I basically ruined my credit by paying everything off and canceling everything. They want to see, man, they've been around for 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 3 years, and they've been paying. That's aged. That's maturity. That's what they want to see, right? Remember, they're about to give you their money, and they don't want to just give it to anybody, right? So make sure you don't make that same mistake I made. Again, now all my little Macy's card that I open up, you know, it's in the safe. You know, I got a couple credit cards that I don't touch at all. They're in the safe. I keep 2 with me, and the rest are in the safe. I got about, right at this point, I have about 8 different credit cards. Okay, and so keep them paid off, keep them paid down, and you'll be all right. Number 6, if you're going to do a hard pull, do it all at one time. Okay, so again, if you're going to do a hard pull, do it all at one time. Do it all same day, same week. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. So when you do a hard pull, guys, it dings your credit score. It basically, it's gonna come down, right? And when I say do it all at one time, figure out exactly, you know, what you need, how much money you need, and when you figure that out, ask everybody for it at the same exact time. Because what happens is once you get it, you will get it from more than one place, right? And you'll have exactly what you need. So what you won't need after that is credit. So when you get it, and you get it for 2, 3, or 4 different places, and you got it all at one time, the first thing the banks are going to say was, oh, well, you know, Joe was shopping for the best rate. That's why he did them all at one time. He was shopping for the best, you know, best rate, best percentage. And that's what he did. And so they're not going to hit him as hard, right? And then when the credit cards do hit, and they say, oh, Joe got 4 credit cards, they're going to hit him. But remember, as long as he's paying them off, you know, the way he's supposed to, Joe's credit is going to come back. The more credit cards, the longer it'll take, but it may take no more than 3 to 4 months for his credit score to get back, as long as he's paying them and keeping them down. Okay, that's the most important thing. Because remember, when you actually go out there and you buy, you know, let's say you go out there and you buy a house. Once you buy your house, you buy your car. And for most people, they don't buy a new car. So actually, they have a car, but when they buy the house, that's when they get the new car, right? And that's also when they get the new credit cards. But at that point in time, once you buy that house and once you buy those credit cards, you don't really need nothing else. So your credit, you'd have maxed out. Some people are maxed out, but it don't matter because they don't need it. They already got everything they need for the next 2, 3 years. You don't need credit, right? So it don't really matter, but it comes back. Okay. But I can give an example. I know some people who had cars with Turo. And you guys need Turo people. You drop the car off, they pick it up, they drive it, bring it back, right? Well, I know people who when Turo hit hard and basically they start using that system, they turn around and went and applied for cars at 4 or 5 different car lots, within the same 2 or 3 days. Okay. And they end up buying 2, 3, and 4 cars at one time. And so all those cars being financed, all those cars now being in the Turo fleet. But Laura, you know you can't do that. You can't go buy 4 cars. If you buy a car this month, then go apply for one next month, right? Then go apply for one next. They're not gonna give you the credit for it, right? They're not gonna let you do that. So you got to do it all at one time. I know people who have Airbnbs, and they went and made application to apartment complexes, different apartment complexes, all on the same day, 24-hour, 48-hour windows, and they end up with 3, 4, 5 apartments in different apartment complexes, right? And rental houses and stuff like that. And basically did it all at one time, because when you do it, they're saying she's looking for a place to stay. She's putting an application in for a place to stay. They don't know what your agenda is. So you do it at one time. So now you got 3, 4, 5 apartments, or rental houses or whatever for Airbnb. So you could do it with anything, guys. You can do it with anything, but just do it all at one time. Okay. So number 7, keep your overall utilization low. Remember, utilization makes up 30% of your credit score, right? Your credit profile, utilization, you don't ever want to be maxed out. Okay. For good credit, you want to keep it under 30%. For really good credit, excellent credit, you want to keep it under 10%. To get close to 850, you want to keep it close to 1%. You don't want to have no debt. You want that debt to be liquidated every month before reporting date. Okay. Really good credit, 30%. 10% is going to trigger, again, credit enhancement. It's going to get you that excellent credit. Okay. And then closer to get to 1%, closer you get to 850. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is also for those of you who have a lot of debt right now. Let's just say right now you're at 60% in credit utilization, and you don't have the money to pay it down right now. Okay. You can actually go, if you can get credit cards, let's say you can find 4 or 5 companies that'll give you a $10,000 limit credit card. So you actually have 4 or 5 companies, that's $40,000 or $50,000 that you added to your credit limit, which now takes that 60% down to 50 or down to 40 or down to 30 or down to 20, depending on how much credit you have, how much debt you have right now. You understand what I'm saying? So you're adding a whole lot of wiggle room in there now. So the more money you have to spend, because now you just added 40 to 50 to spend that you're not spending, right? Which means that now that 60% is now going to drop to 50, 40, 30, 20, depending on how much debt you had, just by adding those credit cards. Remember I told you I have about 7 or 8 credit cards? That's why. I don't have them to use them. I have them locked away from me, right? I have them I had them so I can curve and manipulate my ratio, my utilization ratio. So if this is something that you should skip. This is a step that you should skip if you can't trust yourself. If you're bad with money, you're bad with credit cards, you shouldn't do this. Just want to give you a warning. Again, you shouldn't do this, because all you're going to do is spend it. You'll find a reason to get hold to it, and you'll talk yourself into it. Next thing you know, you and me are going to be having a conversation, and it's not going to be my fault. So don't do it. Don't do it. All right. So again, that's where you want to be, guys, when it comes to utilization. That 30% is a big number. Okay. And the more and more you eat away at it, the better off you're going to be. Number 8, consolidating all your debt. Okay. So let's just say if you're carrying balances on credit cards, chances are the interest rates are as high as 25 to 30, 39% these days, based on interest rates and hikes and stuff like that. So, if you can consolidate and get a much lower payment, right? You put yourself in a position where you save all that money you would have actually paid on interest. Okay? And then all those minimal payments that are now one payment, which is a lot lower than all those minimal payments combined when they were individual accounts. Now you take that extra money, okay, and you pay it all into that actual loan and pay that loan off a whole lot faster. So now your utilization rate goes down a whole lot quicker, right? Affecting that 30%. And it's putting you in a position where now it's protecting your credit card. As long as you don't go back and re-spend on them, you should be good. But the other thing is this. Let's just say you're not consolidating it from a standpoint of you getting a loan consolidated. Let's just say you're consolidating it from a standpoint of you just took those 3 or 4 different credit cards I told you to go get, or I just say you go get, and you know you got them because these particular credit cards will allow you to do a line of credit transfer. Okay, they will allow you to take the $15,000 that you got off of Chase and bring it on over to Citi, right? And depending on the terms, there are a lot of them out there that'll give you 0% APR, and they'll give it to you for 12 months, 18 months, or 24 months, where you won't pay a dime APR and 0% balance transfer fee, which means that they'll actually transfer it without a cost. So now some terms are 0% APR, 12, 18, 12, 24 months, some 0% balance transfer. So now you got a chance to wipe out that 25%, 30%, 39% that you're paying on these credit cards. And now you have 12, 18 to 24 months to pay them off, and you're paying them off interest free. And establishing a whole entirely different relationship with these brand new banks or brand new bank cards. Money goes right back in your pockets. So research those cards and figure out which one of those cards, and a lot of those cards, if you go online and not necessarily Google, you can go on here and just Google credit restoration or increase my credit score, or what credit cards you want to get for line of credit transfer. You got videos on YouTube for all this stuff. YouTube University, guys. Tuition is free, right? So, but that money is right back in your pocket. Number 9, request increases on all of your lines of credit. Then we talked about, how to go out here and make sure your utilization stays low. A way to manipulate the utilization again is by asking for credit increases, credit line increases. Hey, let's just say you have 3 credit cards, all of them are $10,000 credit cards. You got $30,000 worth of credit cards. And let's just say the banks, each one of those banks on average agree to increase the limit 25%, which is $2,500 per card. That's $7,500 worth of increase in space that you gave yourself, which means that, you divide your balance into that, and it will give you the percent of decrease that is going to happen, that's going to help you with your utilization. So again, you're not getting the increase to spend it, you're getting the increase to manipulate the utilization rate. And to make sure that you are able to get increases, anything that you can put on credit cards, like any type of utilities you can pay, or any type of subscriptions that you have, any type of bills that you can pay with credit cards, guys, that you're going to automatically pay anyway, put them on and spread them out over different cards so you'll have something to pay on each card. But when you do that, it keeps those cards active. And the banks are saying, well, she's using them or he's using them. Okay. And so let's go ahead and give them an increase. And you can ask for an increase, as many times as you want. I don't know how many times they're giving to you per year, but I've gotten, at least on one of my credit cards, I've gotten an increase 3 times in 1 year. I asked every 4 months. So you ask not, you get not. Closed mouths don't get fed, right? So again, credit line increases. Use them, don't abuse them. Number 10. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but develop a portfolio of diversified loans and lines of credit. Develop a portfolio of diversified loans and lines of credit. So this deals with, again, the variety of credit that you owe. Banks like to see a wide array of credit obligations in your portfolios versus 2 credit cards, right? So the more diverse the mix, the more reliable they believe that you are. So just going back over credit cards, and just make sure that you diversify credit cards in each one of your bureaus. Because remember, every credit card doesn't report to all 3 bureaus. Okay. And some credit cards hold more weight with certain bureaus. So when you're applying for credit cards, make sure you have credit cards in all bureaus. And like I said, so you want to have something hit every bureau. But credit cards, bank cards and these bank cards, you normally don't get credit for having a ATM card, one of those cards that you you just basically go take money out the ATM, or you got a Visa logo on it and you can use it with Visa, but it don't have any benefits on it. Well, there are cards out there like the Extra card that I've been using for about 2 years now. And I can just tell you, it helps my credit because the stuff that I'll buy, like all the little Chick-fil-A stuff or all the little, let me go to Academy for this. I'm on Amazon for that. Let me go ahead and buy it off of Extra. I'm about to buy it anyway. And I'm about to use my debit card, the same debit card, that can come from the same account. Is just now is with Extra, or it's with a lot of these other cards that are out there. So research debit cards that actually give you that you can get credit, credit reporting on, and find one of those cards, because again, that's diversifying. Bank cards that report like Extra, lines of credit, personal loans, automobile loans, home mortgages, student loans. And keep in mind, when you pay them down or pay them off, it shows multiple type of lenders. It shows that multiple types of lenders trust you as well. Okay, so it's not just credit card companies. You have mortgage companies that they see, trust you. You have loan, automobile companies, they see trust you. They see a wide variety of people trust you with their money. Okay. Let's see here. Number 11. Avoid always getting new credit. Talked a little bit about it earlier. So you might be this close away from being at 800 and you need that 800 for something. Don't get credit at that time. Now, if you need something but you don't need it for another 3 or 4 months, and you want to open up a new line of credit or some credit card or something, you can get it, because again, keeping it low, under 10%, close to 1%, or paid off, it puts you in a position where it'll be back. The thing that you got for having new credit, basically it'll be back in a month to 2 months. And keep in mind, again, every time you open up a new credit card, it gives you more space, a bigger credit limit, okay, overall. But let's see here. Creditors don't want to see you apply for stuff every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Remember, every hard pull, every hard inquiry, it stays on your record for 2 years, 24 months. So if you're sitting there, boom, 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 and you're applying for something every 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months, that's going to look real bad, because it's going to look to them like you're having financial challenges. That's how they look at that. That's why I have this thing where credit older than 2 years, I really don't worry about anymore. Okay, because they care more about the most current. Okay, now if there's ways that you can function or if there's ways that you can get the older credit off or make it irrelevant, do that. But again, it's the next 2 years, the last 2 years, not after that most of them pay attention to. Yeah. Budget for surplus, number 12. So budgeting for surplus, first thing you want to do is you want to minimize spending. And this is basically what you want to use. You basically want to eat in, not out. Okay. Don't do as much shopping. Make some sacrifices. Okay. And really take that extra money and start paying some stuff down, paying some stuff off. And I just tell you, it's reconditioning you guys. So when you put yourself in a position where you do it out on purpose, and you turn around and get great credit, you turn around and put yourself in a position where you are financially wiser, and you put yourself in a position where now you're trustworthy. When that money comes in, okay, you'll know what to do with it, and you won't blow it. You'll have a different level of appreciation for it. You'll have a different relationship for it. Okay. And then on the backside of that, again, after you cut back on your luxuries and you reward yourself later, delayed gratification, and you use that extra money to liquidate your debt. The next part about this, number 12, budgeting for surplus, is infuse money into your budget. Infuse money, new money, into your budget. So what that means is increase the revenue or cash flow coming into the house so that you can actually liquidate debt faster and increase your credit status. Okay, so that's important. This also helps you increase your financial IQ as well. So now you got money coming in that's extra money that wasn't a part of the household at first. Now you're liquidating debt, okay, and put yourself in a position where the credit is coming up now. And now at some point in time, this debt's falling off one card at a time or one deal at a time. And now that extra money is going into your kitty, it's going into your savings. Because right now, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with it now. So now you got money's coming in, extra money coming in. Now you got great credit. So what are we going to do with this credit and do with this money? What are we going to invest in? Okay, what are we going to do? What business are we going to open? Okay. And I'm telling you, when you do it that way, remember what you do, you can teach. Okay. So this is a process. And I can teach on this because I've been through this process over and over and over for years, decades. And so, again, early on, I did it as a quick fix. Okay. And so I did it because I needed something right away. And so now I'm doing it because I need something forever. Okay. And so take care of your credit, guys. Take care of your credit. Number 13, monitor your own credit bureaus and accounts. Monitor your own credit bureaus and accounts. Make sure, guys, you get reminders from the creditors that payments are due. Like you'll have banks that'll send you alerts. You have banks that'll send you emails. Set your phones, and say, hey, look, due date, report date, make the payment. Okay? If it means that much to you, do it. Okay. Also, credit bureaus, it alerts you for usage and inquiries. So if you didn't make an inquiry, and you get an alert, bing, okay. Check the credit bureau, see what's on there. Put yourself in a position where you can get it checked out, okay? This is also a way for you to make sure that you can actually catch identity theft, because remember, people monitor activity. If they can tap into you or they see your lifestyle, they can get access to your stuff, they can get in there and do some damage. And if you're not in your credit bureau, you don't see it happening. By the time you see it, it's too late. You may miss the statute of limitations or something like that, where if they could have helped you, they can't. Okay. But also reports, your reports and emails will also show when your utilization drops and increases. Like I have alerts that say, hey, your credit score just went up 9 points, or your credit score just dropped 13 points, or whatever it is. Again, I get those alerts. Okay. And then there's some other things, guys, as we wrap up. This is the last one here. And this is one of the things I'm actually doing myself. I just started this. I'm actually enrolling into this program right now. But it's a company. It's called Stellarfi. Okay. And Stellarfi, again, when you look at Stellarfi, you can pay your rent, you can pay your bills, you can pay your utilities, you can pay streaming services like Netflix and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff through Stellarfi. And that's Stellarfi. Stellarfi, right? And it boosts your score when you pay things down to zero, or you pay things off, or you continue to pay things down. They'll also give you a free credit bureau and show you what you need to work on. They also help you with the reported limit as high as 25,000. So anytime you pay a bill, anytime you pay a debt, anytime you pay something through them, they report it, just like extra, just like the bank card. They report it, and they'll report. Like I say, you got $27,000 worth of stuff that you're paying every month. They'll report up to $25,000 per month. Okay, and so that's huge. So remember, Stellarfi will help you address the two biggest portions of it, which is the 35%, right, credit history, because it'll show that you have good credit history through them, and then 30% of credit utilization, because it's showing that you're paying stuff down or paying stuff off, right? So it'll help you, again, with those two, the 30%, the 35%, okay? And so, but that's huge. So, guys, that's for that, let me see here. Yeah, so now right now we're pretty much at that point. We pretty much got this knocked out. And if y'all have any questions about anything right now, pertaining to what we talked about, I'll take them, Carly. If you see any questions, guys, put question in the header and then type your question in under it. And if I can answer it, I'll answer it. If not, we'll wrap it up, call it quits, and then we'll see you guys on Saturday and Monday. Let's see. I'm glad you're loving it, Laura. I appreciate that, Dr. Arlene. All right, all right.
Mr. Bean, I do see a question, sir.
Yeah.
It says, how long does it take a student loan that was forgiven to come off your report?
Ooh, a student loan that was forgiven. Okay, so that one you might want to talk to somebody. I said that part I don't know because one, every bureau is different, and then sometimes they can fall off. Sometimes you can have them removed, and it just depends on what the debt is. And IRS stuff, student loan stuff, anything that they can garnish wages over, that's a whole entirely different situation and scenario. A lot of times those things are hard. Bankruptcies, a lot of times those things are a lot harder to get removed than anything. And but what you do is, you can actually write into the credit bureaus and ask them to remove it and see what they say. Sometimes they'll reply. But also you can actually Google that. That's a Google question that you might be able to reach and hit Google up with and get those type of answers. But me personally, I don't know. I'm just happy that I don't have to pay one no more. Student loans, boy.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I see another question. It's from Donna. She asked, during the pandemic, I had gotten laid off and had to use credit cards to stay afloat, but now I'm playing catch up and I'm overextended.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple accounts and it's overwhelming. I have attempted to consolidate them, but the bank wouldn't allow me to do so. If you were in my situation, what would you do to clean up the mess?
Man, just depends, Donna, honestly. At some point, so I know at one point in time in my life, I asked that same question to my mentor, and he says, look, let me tell you something. You're paying everybody and you can't breathe. He says, again, when it comes to debt, again, most of the companies have insurance on their money already anyway. And, at some point in time, you got to get your life, in order, so you can have a life. So, when it comes to, what you chose to do, what I chose to do was not pay them and start my life over with. But what I would suggest you do is, consult with somebody who does that for a living. And because again, when they sit down and look at your actual finances, how much money you got coming in, if there's a plan that they could put you on to liquidate, they will. Now, another way that you can do is this: all those bills that you're paying, you're probably paying the minimal on them. Because there's a time when I did pay them, and I didn't avoid paying them. What I did was, instead of paying the extra that I was paying on each one of them, I took the bare minimal on all of them, and I paid the extra excess on the one that was the smallest. And then once I paid that one off, I did the same exact thing with the next bill. And then I did the same exact thing with the next bill. And then I paid them off that way. So again, those were two different phases of my life. Both times I was in debt. But one time I needed to start my life over, and I had to just get everything out the way because I was going through bankruptcy, foreclosure, repossession, all that stuff. Okay. But when I wasn't going through any of that stuff, corporal in the Army, when I was in the military, was telling me how to get myself out. And that's the process that I use. I took all the excess money because we all pay a little bit extra on every bill. So, but it don't help. It really it doesn't. When you take all that extra though, and you consolidate the extra and pay the minimum on everything else, and then you just start knocking them off one at a time like that, then you can get off from under it like that. So I don't know where you are in your situation, but again, those are the two things that I did. Now you may need some counseling from somebody who does that part for a living, and they may give you a different answer. But I always say get your second and third opinion, 100% of the time. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here for entertainment purposes only. All right.
Thank you, sir. I have another question from Monique. She says, if an account is paid in full for a car trade-in, but it says under your credit, potential negative, how does that affect your credit? What do you need to do to have that removed?
But if it's paid off, and it's paid off in full, and you don't have to worry about it based on trade-in, it's done. The transaction is over. So that's when you go and you dispute it because it's not showing up properly. That you dispute, that you let them know what it is. You got the documentation of the payoff or the trade-in, zero balance, and anything you get a chance to send in with that, any proof that you get a chance to send in with that, because that's easy to knock off, basically, because you have proof. It's supposed to be a zero balance, paid in. Everything after you traded it in, it has nothing to do with you. So that should be an easy dispute.
Thank you, sir. I have a question from Carla. She asked, what are your thoughts on debt consolidation services?
Debt consolidation, well, that's the thing. When you look at debt consolidation services, let somebody do it for you is one thing. Again, you doing it for yourself is another thing. Some of these guys have fees that you can actually use to put toward debt. And then again, a debt consolidation service for most situations is not going to be, it's not going to save you a whole lot of money at all. And again, it's just going to put you in a position where they're going to get paid and you have, fewer headaches, but you still had a headache. But they have some that are out there that are really good. You just got to figure out the ones that when they give you their guidelines, they give you their, what they do for you. Just make sure that there's a clearly defined end result that you desire that they're going to come to, and that it's within your time frame, within your budget, and everything else. But if you can do it yourself, I suggest you do it yourself.
Thank you, sir. I have a question from Laura. She asked, piggybacking.
One thing right before you do that, while it's on my mind, a lot of companies are going to ask you to settle if you have debt. Okay, remember, if it's been a while, and again, depending on what state you're in, because some states, they can't put liens on your stuff and they can't sue you or whatever. But some of you, if it's 2 years, just walk away. Don't sell anything that's 2 years old, because what happens is they call you, it's 18 months old or it's 2 years old and it's about to fall off or it's about to be irrelevant. And then you turn around and you settle it. The moment you settle it, you restart the clock. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now you're showing somebody a brand new trade that says that this person couldn't fulfill their obligation and these people lost money on this human being. So again, depending on where it's at, don't settlements just because you can pay them less money. It don't mean that it's going to be a better deal for you. And the 9 out of 10, they're going to sell that paper anyway. They're not going to really lose any money on it.
Thank you, sir. Laura's question is piggybacking. Can the second person have any other credit cards, or is this for someone with no credit? Also, does that person get to use the card that they are authorized user on?
Yeah, so 2 things. 1, they can have credit, existing credit, or no credit at all. 2, I'm not giving anybody access to any credit cards. You'll never know a credit card exists. All you'll know is you about the benefit. That's it. So don't ever give a person the credit card number. Don't ever give a person access to any of the information. That person has nothing but the benefits. They don't get a chance. That doesn't come with spending privileges. Okay. So kids, people, human beings, clients, nobody gets a card.
Thank you, sir. That's all the question. Oh, wait. Monique has a follow-up question. It says, so should I mail in my dispute?
I would do email and mail. I would personally, I would do one of both. A hard copy. The email gets there fast if they have an email opportunity. If they allow you to email it in, I would do both, because if I email it, I want them also to have a hard copy on it.
Thank you, sir. Now that's all the questions I see.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully y'all had some value in this tonight. And again, we'll make some things happen. Like I said, just be patient and just know that everything that we do for you. And every decision that we don't make, we also do that for you as well, because every decision is not a good decision when it comes to you having an opportunity to lose your money. All right. And so that's something that we take serious. That's something that we really and truly take to bed with us at night when we lay our heads on our pillow. That's y'all on our thoughts and y'all on our hearts. So just know that, again, we're going to finish what we started. We just need to do it the right way. So love you guys. Again, don't know what we did to deserve you guys, but we're going to do everything in our power as always to make sure that we put you guys in a position to win and not lose. So catch up with you guys next time, same line, more people. Bye, guys.